In NCIS Season 22, Episode 14, titled Close to Home, Special Agent Alden Parker and his team find themselves entangled in one of the most personal cases of their careers when a brutal murder occurs just a few miles from Parker's childhood neighborhood. As the investigation unfolds, long-buried secrets resurface, forcing Parker to confront his past while the team races to stop a killer with a chilling connection to him. Meanwhile, Dr. Jimmy Palmer and Cassie Hines uncover an unusual forensic anomaly that could shift the entire direction of the case, while Nick Torres and Jessica Knight struggle to protect a key witness whose life is in imminent danger. As the tension mounts, the NCIS team must rely on each other more than ever to bring justice to a community shaken by fear. Act 1. The case hits home. The episode opens with a quiet suburban street just outside Washington, D.C., where a jogger discovers the lifeless body of James "Jimmy" Weller, a retired Marine, in his front yard. His face is bloodied, his body battered, and a cryptic message is scrawled in red on the pavement nearby. This is only the beginning. When NCIS arrives on the scene, Parker's expression shifts from focused determination to deep concern. He recognizes the neighborhood. It's the place he grew up in. Weller was not only a Marine, but also a longtime friend of Parker's late father. This murder is personal. Torres and Knight canvass the area, speaking to Weller's neighbors, while Makey dives into Weller's past, searching for possible enemies. Meanwhile, Dr. Palmer conducts a preliminary examination of the body, noting an unusual pattern of bruising that doesn't match common blunt force trauma. As Parker speaks with Weller's widow, Martha Weller, she tearfully recounts how her husband had been on edge for the past few weeks, convinced that someone was following him. He never gave details, but he had told her, "It's someone I thought was long gone." When Cassie processes the crime scene evidence, she discovers an unexpected connection. The bloodied message left at the scene contains traces of Parker's father's DNA. But Parker's father has been dead for years. How is this possible? Act 2. A cold case resurfaces. Back at NCIS headquarters, Parker sifts through old files related to his father's past. He remembers a case his father had worked on as a detective in the 1980s, a string of brutal assaults in their neighborhood, all tied to a suspect known only as the Shadow. The case was never solved, and the attacks stopped suddenly. McGee digs into the records and finds something alarming. The primary suspect in the Shadow case was a man named Edward Loring, a former military contractor with a history of violent outbursts. But Loring died in prison a decade ago. How does a dead man leave a message at a crime scene? Torres asks, skeptical. Before anyone can answer, Cassie rushes in with another breakthrough. Weller's body tested positive for traces of an old military-grade nerve agent, one that hasn't been used since the Cold War. The same agent was linked to the assaults Parker's father investigated decades ago. Parker, now convinced that the past is colliding with the present, visits his childhood home, now abandoned. There, he finds a chilling piece of evidence, an old photograph of himself as a child, standing next to his father, with a shadowy figure lurking in the background. On the back of the photo, scrawled in the same red ink as the crime scene message, are the words, "You should have stopped me then. You won't stop me now." Act 3. Racing against time. With the discovery of the photo, the case takes a terrifying turn. Someone is taunting Parker, forcing him to relive his father's failures. But how is the killer connected to the past case? While McGee and Cassie analyze the photo for clues, Torres and Knight track down a surviving victim from the original Shadow case, Lisa Carter, who was attacked as a teenager but survived. When they find her, she is clearly terrified. Lisa reveals that in the weeks leading up to Weller's murder, she had been receiving strange phone calls, heavy breathing on the other end, followed by the words, "Do you remember me?" She hadn't told anyone, fearing she was imagining things. Before they can get more information, shots ring out. A masked assailant opens fire on the house. Knight shoves Lisa to the ground while Torres returns fire, chasing the gunman through the backyard. But the attacker vanishes into the night. Lisa, shaken but determined, finally reveals something chilling. After her attack decades ago, she saw a second man at the crime scene, a man she believed was an accomplice to the Shadow. But he was never caught. Cassie's forensic analysis confirms it. The DNA at the crime scene matches not Parker's father, but someone related to him. Parker, stunned, realizes what this means. The killer is connected to his own family. Act 4. The truth comes out.